Hi, my name is Juana Gallegos, and I will be talking about Erickson's psychosocial development theory. So, psychosocial development deals with Erickson's theory, suggesting the impact on the influences of social and cultural experiences within the entire lifespan of an individual. Erickson's interests dealt with how individuals' experiences influence personality that led to virtues and crises. So such influences develop these stages of psychosocial development. Within these stages, there are 8 psychosocial stages, and each stage, as you see here, builds within the individual's age and leads to periods of development. So as you see here, preschool, school age, adolescence, these are the ages. Within each stage occurs a crisis, and that can lead to virtues or negative outcomes. So this would be an example of what we would mention as a crisis. This is a crisis a preschool will be dealing at this time of their development. If they are given positive influences, they will gain the virtue. If they are given negative influences, they will be resulting in a negative outcome, which is guilt, for example. Each crisis involved the differences between the individual and the expectations of society. And the individuals that successfully obtain each stage will result in a healthy personality and strengthen their ego. Inability to complete each stage will result in negative outcomes and will not have a sense of self. So within the first stage, we have the crisis of trust versus mistrust. And this is during the first age of a child, where these infants seek for their caregiver's care and security. So if the parent or caregiver gives the appropriate care and security, then the infants will feel secure and create a sense of trust. If the caregivers fail to provide such security and care, the infants will develop fear and mistrust. Following this stage comes the crisis autonomy versus shame, and this could be seen at an age of 2 years old, when the toddler wants to be making their own choices of, for example, food, toys, clothing, and that's when the child wants to become independent. And this is a critical part of their development, because parents should encourage the child to be independent and also protect them to avoid failure. So if they are struggling, parents should help the child in order for them to gain the virtue of autonomy. Otherwise, if the child is criticized or is controlled and is not able to be independent, their self-esteem decreases and they become doubtful of their own abilities and start to feel shame. Following with the third stage, it is initiative versus guilt, and we can see this stage at ages 3 to 5, where the children begins to be more curious, feel curiosity. Children begin to interact with their children and initiate play activities. So play takes an important part in development at this stage, because it allows children to explore their interpersonal skills. If motivated, they create a sense of purpose from their choices and decisions, and resulting in the virtue of initiative. Versus if the adult or the caregiver parent does not encourage the child will then feel that as if they are annoying, or they will lessen their interacting, and they will become more of followers, and leading to the negative outcome of guilt. Following this, Erickson mentioned the industry versus inferiority stage, and this could be seen which is between ages of 6 and 12 years old, and it is basically school age to puberty, and this is where teachers take an important role, and they're crucial in their teaching skills to influence these age children, because children feel that children that are encouraged and are reinforced will make them feel confident and increase their self-esteem. And following this, they will feel pride for their accomplishments and strive for competence. So they try to win the teacher or the authoritative approval. And if they do feel like as they are doing so, they will have the virtue of industry, where if the versus the child is feeling discouraged and is not encouraged to continue their skills, they will feel doubtful of their abilities and will not be reach their full potential. But to take note of this is when you encourage a child to continue and feel confident, there was something mentioned that with limitations, as in with teaching a child not to be arrogant is also crucial, because the child can then gain modesty. So that was something that I think was really interesting. So teachers and adults must also teach which should encourage and reinforce your child to feel confident, but with limitations, as in making sure that the child is understanding of their, not only of their emotions and accomplishments, but of their surrounding. The child can be humble and gain modesty. That is a side note to note. And if they feel discouraged, then they will feel inferior. Following this stage deals with identity versus role confusion, and this can be seen in adolescents that are ages between 12 and 18. This is an important role in Erickson's psychosocial development theory, because it is the age where the adolescence not only starts to think of their own feelings and emotions, but their body changes as well. So there's a lot of changes in these individual stages. Adolescents begin to think of who they are and make goals for their future, and they are more conscious of their body image and are because of their constant physical changes due to puberty, and they begin to see themselves as unique individuals. So they gain identity as a virtue. If they are not encouraged such way, then they don't understand their physical changes and identity, then they become confused, and then they can become more rebellious and unhappy. So this would be the negative outcome as role confusion. Following this stage deals with intimacy versus isolation, and this could be seen between this large gap here of ages 18 to 40 years old. And this is more of an adulthood stage, where the adult seeks a stable relationship and love, where they search for commitment, security, and care. And in times when they don't feel that in a relationship, then they will feel be unable to find a stable relationship. They will feel isolated and unhappy, and that would be the negative outcome. Following this stage is generation versus stagnation, and this is between the ages 40 and 65, where by then the individual has already established a career and a family, and if they are positive influences in the past, they will continue be involved in community activities and care for others, so leading to the virtue of generation. But if they are unproductive and did not progress in their past stages, then they will be feeling stuck within their lives, dealing with the negative outcome of stagnation. And furthermore, the last stage is integrity versus despair, which is ages 65 to death, where if they have successfully completed the previous stages, they will feel accomplished in life and have a sense of wisdom and also a sense of closure and completeness, meaning they don't fear death as much, and they will feel as if they're completed their goal in life, giving them the virtue of integrity throughout their whole life. Otherwise, versus if they don't feel that they accomplished anything in life, or there's certain unfinished business, then they will feel unproductive and deal with despair. So this is all of the interesting stages of the Erickson psychosocial development. And I hope you learned something with me today. Thank you.